Straight ahead on 12 News Weekend, they are fast talkers.
Efficiencies and regulations on emissions are creating.
And ranked #1 in the nation for high school debate. Plus, you may have seen the improving jobs numbers, but is the economic picture all rosy? We stop by a local jobs center for answers. But first, back from Liberia and prepared to leave again. We'll meet the Brooklyn Park man who has joined in the fight against Ebola. 12 News Weekend starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on 12 News Weekend. I'm Shannon Slatton.
And I'm Delane Cleveland. A Brooklyn Park man recently spent 21 days in voluntary confinement, holed up in his townhome.
Now, Winfred Russell is preparing for another trip to his native Liberia as a member of the American Refugee Committee. As Sonia Goins reports, the team hopes to make a dent in the Ebola crisis.
It is tough. It is a tough thing to see how this disease has so devastated Liberia.
Winfred Russell was recently in Liberia making preparations for the American Refugee Committee team.
I didn't provide direct care. I was not in contact with any sick person. I did not even see my mother, my relatives, when I was there.
When he returned to Minnesota, he went on a 21-day quarantine, holed up inside his Brooklyn Park townhome.
So my food came in these containers.
He says it was tough staying put, but he knows people in Liberia don't have it as easy.
You know, I have water, I have food, can be dropped off. Those folks have none.
He was also monitored by the Minnesota Department of Health.
My temperature is 98.3, so I'm fine. You know?
He says his trip was worth the trouble, just to make sure everything goes well for the team.
So the good thing about what ARC is doing, the ARC response effort is being led by Liberians. So Liberians are at the forefront of it. I'm going to be the response manager.
This is the first pair of gloves. Then you'll put another pair of gloves on.
About 15 members of the American Refugee Committee are heading to Liberia. It'll be one of the largest groups to head out from Minnesota. Right now, they're getting briefed on safety precautions.
It's a coverall suit. Meant for full body protection.
About 5,000 people have died from Ebola, so safety is a top priority.
We also have more like full face respirators. Everything has been carefully researched and planned. All the equipment has been carefully selected as the best possible equipment in the market.
Sonia Goins, 12 News.
One half of the American Refugee Committee team left on Thursday. Russell is part of another group that will leave for Liberia in 2 weeks. Nearly 700 members of the Minnesota National Guard will head to Liberia this spring to help with the Ebola crisis. They will not provide direct care for people with Ebola. Instead, they will help with logistics and assist military forces already there. Major General Neil Lloydolt of Brooklyn Park will command the mission.
All soldiers will have the best equipment and the best training that is required to prevent the Ebola virus from affecting them.
The soldiers will be deployed to Liberia for 6 months.
A Brooklyn Park jobs counselor says her clients are finding work faster. Employment numbers released this week show the state added 9,500 jobs in October. It dropped unemployment to below 4%, the lowest level in 8 years. A jobs counselor with Hired says unemployed workers are still coming through the door, but their job search is shorter.
Definitely the jobs are there to be obtained and they are securing them. They may not necessarily be getting the pay, same grade that they were at, but they've accepted that and realized that, you know, it's the changing times and the going rate isn't the same as it has been in the past.
But Wilson says that may change too if the good job numbers continue for at least 6 months. She says pay could improve as employers compete for workers.
And speaking of jobs, Brooklyn Park City Manager Jamie Verbrugge is one of 3 finalists being considered for city manager in Bloomington. Verbrugge says it's a very competitive process with no assurance that he could get the job, but he also says it's a professional opportunity and a chance for him to work closer to his home. No decision is expected until the first week of December. Verbrugge has been with Brooklyn Park since 2008.
As we enter into the holiday season and become preoccupied, it can be a prime time for burglars to strike. Robbinsdale police are reminding homeowners to be aware of their surroundings. They've had garage burglaries recently as well as a home break-in this past week while the residents were sleeping.
We are seeing burglaries. We see them every month. Sometimes they tend to surge and back off. A lot of times when we see a surge, it's because there's a particular suspect that's working the area.
Robbinsdale police say during the holidays, make sure your home looks occupied if you're away. Leave lights on, have someone shovel snow, and have packages or deliveries sent to a workplace to ask a neighbor to pick it up. For more tips, the Robbinsdale Crime Prevention Association is holding a meeting December 3rd at 7 p.m. on the second floor of the police building.
In our week in review, political dignitaries are remembering a long-serving congressman who represented the West Metro for 20 years. Bill Frenzel died this past week at his home in Virginia. Frenzel represented Minnesota's 3rd congressional district from 1971 until 1991. He was a leader among moderate Republicans and became known as a deficit hawk. Frenzel would later successfully help lobby for the North American Free Trade Agreement. Bill Frenzel was 86. A Maple Grove medical device company will lose out on state funds following recent criminal charges filed against the company and its CEO. Vascular Solutions was in the running for an $800,000 subsidy to expand operations in Maple Grove. Vascular Solutions and CEO Howard Root were indicted on charges of conspiring to sell a varicose vein treatment device for unapproved medical uses. The company plans to fight the charges. And big changes could be coming to Golden Valley's border. A Florida developer is proposing 2 office towers, a hotel, and 2 apartment buildings at the southwest corner of I-394 and Highway 100. It's near the shops at West End. The large-scale project would require both approval of the Golden Valley and St. Louis Park City Councils.
The Crystal Church plans to put a different spin on Black Friday this year. For the 3rd year, Cornerstone Church is hosting Upside Down Black Friday. These are pictures of last year's event that drew more than 100 people. The church hopes volunteers can come together to deliver warm clothes and a hot meal to the homeless and elderly.
We decided to try to start something, and what better time to do it than the day after Thanksgiving when it becomes all about getting. Instead, we decided to do something about giving.
There's something for every age and ability. If you want to help, you can drop off coats at Cornerstone Church in Crystal. They especially need extra large coats to hand out. Or you can show up to help at 9 a.m. on Black Friday. Everyone is welcome.
And more to come on 12 News Weekend, starting with a quick reminder to take care of your car in the cold winter months.
And later in sports, Champlin Park's boys basketball team is shooting for a title this season.
But first, possible tricky travel conditions to start out the work week. Rain turns into snow on Monday.
After more than a week of making snow, Elm Creek Park Reserve in Maple Grove is open for cross-country skiing. It's the earliest open they've ever had at the park. Right now, just the Valley Trail is open at the park, which has man-made snow. There are 5 other natural snow trails, but those will not open until conditions permit. Well, we could get a slight warm-up this weekend before the cold returns.
November is indeed off to a chilly start. It rivals the longest, coldest streak of cold winter weather in recorded history. And as we found out, all this cold has people scrambling at local auto repair shops.
Winter came a little early this year.
Too cold, too soon.
It got cold fast. We got a little snow earlier than normal, so it's definitely been busy because of it.
When the cold, snowy weather blew in,
Pretty much when it happened, then it got a little crazy.
cars drove in here to Victory Auto in Brooklyn Park.
Things that we've talked to people about over the summer, now they said, oh boy, it got cold. We need to get in here and get that taken care of.
Brian Shower says one of the most common mistakes people make when it comes to winterizing your car is a simple one to fix.
Well, it's a bad thing anytime to run on a low tire. You don't get as good a traction, your gas mileage goes down. You put excessive wear on the tire. They can overheat and that'll wear the tire excessively.
So when it comes to winterizing your car, there are 3 things you need to check: your battery, your fluids, and your tires.
Going to some area auto repair shops to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the battery and that it has enough strength to deal with the extremely cold temperatures.
The calls coming into AAA haven't rivaled what they expect for the upcoming winter.
Definitely getting calls, but we understand that this is just the beginning for us.
So they urge drivers to have your car checked out now.
These are all steps that we feel are very important that drivers need to take now to avoid any hardship later in the winter months.
Because one thing is for sure, there's definitely more wintry weather ahead.
It's inevitable. This is Minnesota. It's going to be cold.
Yes, it is. And also worth noting, make sure you have a winter emergency kit in your car. We've got a list for what to include in it on our website, 12.tv. Coming up after the break, why a Brooklyn Park teacher is a rock star in the classroom.
Then Osceo's boys hockey team is hoping to move up the ladder this winter. That's coming up in sports with Jay Wilcox.
I'm Jay Wilcox with your weekend sports. Local boys basketball teams are into their second week of tryouts and practices. Look for Champlin Park to be a top-level team again this winter. The Rebels returned 3 starters from a team that went 19-1 in conference play to win the Northwest Suburban title. They were 25-3 and runner-up in Section 5 4A. Though they're just getting started, the guys are excited about the possibilities this season.
First couple practices, we're already starting to get together, come together, make some beautiful plays. So, I mean, hopefully I can transition into some games coming up.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely liking it a lot. You know, we're pushing each other hard every day, giving it our all, so it should translate to on the court.
All Northwest Suburban picks J.T. Gibson, Marty Hill, and Jeremy Johnson are back to lead the Rebels. They also have 2 of the top sophomores in the state in guard McKinley Wright and big man Theo John, who is getting a lot of recruiting interest from major colleges. He should provide a new dimension inside.
We got more of a true center this year in Theo John. In the past, we've had big guys, but not true centers. We've had kind of forwards and guards playing center position. So this year we got the true center, and then that gives us the ability to be more athletic and more aggressive on the defensive end, even more so than last year. So.
The Rebels open the season Thanksgiving weekend at the Early Bird Invite at the Lindbergh Center at Hopkins High School. They play Bloomington Kennedy at noon Friday, November 28th. The Osseo boys hockey team has struggled the last few years, but the Orioles are hoping to turn things around this winter. Osseo has won just 7 games over the last 2 seasons, but they have a good group of guys returning both up front and on defense. The Orioles played a lot of underclassmen on varsity the last 2 years, and those kids are now seniors and should bring a lot of experience to the ice.
I think the guys are excited to have a fresh start. You know, we got a lot of guys now that have played varsity. This will be their 3rd year. We got, I think, 7 or 8 core guys that have been around for 3 years. You know, they should know the ropes by now. We're looking forward to this year. We got a pretty good nucleus to build around.
This year will probably be more of a puck possession team because our offense has been really strong the last few years, and we've been all playing together since sophomore year. So the chemistry has been really good.
The biggest question mark for Osseo will be in net. 3 goalies are competing for the starting job, but none have much varsity experience. After Saturday's opener against Buffalo, the Orioles are off from games until December 4th. Well, the fall season ends this weekend with the Prep Bowl. On this week's Sports Jam show on Channel 12, John Jacobson and I named the first of our all-area teams in boys and girls soccer. Here's a little sample of what you'll see.
Let's start up front with our forwards, and Armstrong's number 8, Mariah Haberle. The junior netted 22 goals to go along with 9 assists for a Falcons team that lost just 2 matches all season. Haberle was named All-State and second-team All-Metro. Our defenders include Park Center's number 21, Molly Monson. A solid, dynamic player who helped the Pirates to the best record in school history. Monson netted 11 goals as a defender and was named All-Conference, All-State, and second-team All-Metro. She was also selected to the All-Tournament team at state.
Maple Grove's Kevin Huff helped his team to an undefeated regular season. The Mr. Soccer finalist is a 2-time All-State pick and was Northwest Suburban Conference Player of the Year. A physical player and great in the air, Hoof had 12 goals and 5 assists.
Perfect header.
Number 11, Arthur Perrins, was at his best in the big games for Wayzata. The speedy Perrins earned all tournament honors at state for the AA runner-up Trojans and scored in the state final. In all-state selection, Perrins had 10 goals and 5 assists. Catch the full teams and honorable mention picks on our website, 12.tv. And starting Monday, we name our football offense and defense, plus our volleyball team on Sports Jam. That's Monday through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30. And coming up after the break, 2 Wayzata students who stand out for more than just their gift of gab. Meet these 2 fast talkers when we return.
Welcome back. She's described as a real, live, certifiable rock star.
That person is none other than Cindy Brosey. Brosey works with special education students at Edgewood Education Center in Brooklyn Park. This week, she was named Education Support Professional of the Year by Education Minnesota. Brosey calls the honor the highlight of her 21-year career in education. For the honor, Rosie receives an iPad, a $1,000 check, and she will also represent Minnesota as a nominee for National Education Support Professional of the Year. So good luck to her.
Yeah, it's great.
Finally, prepare to put your brain into overdrive with this next story.
This week we had the chance to meet two Wayzata students who are ranked #1 for high school debate.
So, hey everybody.
At Wayzata High School in Plymouth, seniors Tiffany Haas and Kate Galing are well-rounded students.
I'm currently the student body vice president. I was a varsity swimmer freshman year. I am in the string orchestra.
I'm in Link Crew, which helps orient freshmen each year. I tutor some students after school, and I'm also pretty involved in my church.
You want to use that room?
But get these two into debate class.
Right now in the status quo, we don't have tariffs. We just need to have ships and able to move our goods places, which the affirmative allows.
And your mind better be ready to keep up.
First on the shipping advantage, status quo efficiencies and regulations on emissions are creating increased costs in shipping, causing decline. Nuclear shipping is the only solution guaranteed. Increasing capacity and efficiency. There are three trolling economic forces. All food prices, drug countries, the last shop for supply. Second is economy, the royal.
When these two go about arguing their points.
Each speech only has like a set amount of time, so you want to be able to get as many arguments out as possible. And there's a stronger chance that your opponent doesn't hear one of the arguments if you're talking quicker. This is kind of a sneaky trick.
And so we do lots of practice debates and practice speeches each week.
They've become so good at their craft
Say that we destroy the environment. However, first, there's no impact to nuclear.
that Tiffany and Kate are currently the #1 ranked debate team in the entire nation.
And it's still like so surreal that we managed to do it. We're winning tournaments, making it to final rounds of tournaments.
And I think it's really exciting just because of the hard work that it takes.
Hard work that requires hours of research and practice.
It takes a lot more work, I think, than a lot of other activities I'm in, and it's also more rewarding.
You know, I've always enjoyed writing, research, and just kind of the academia behind it.
Their debate coach calls them an asset for reasons beyond their individual success.
They often are judging debates for some of our younger debaters. They're doing research that helps the entire team, so they provide a lot of leadership and input.
Both say they're considering future careers in law.
The sky's the limit in terms of their abilities as professionals and leaders in the community.
Tiffany and Kate have qualified for the National Championship for Debate. That takes place in April in Kentucky, so good luck to the two of them. And I gotta tell you, I don't even think I can talk like that regularly. It's amazing what they can do there.
I was going to say, after you did that story, did you go home and practice? Did you try it just yourself in front of the mirror?
I did not, but you know, the way that they do that, they practice by putting a pen in their mouth and they try to talk that way. So that's something that they're taught. They learned that at debate camp in Michigan over the summer.
Probably comes in handy at home when they're negotiating with their parents for things, you think?
If they can be state title champions in that, I'm sure that their parents have no chance.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good job, Delane. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Have a nice weekend. We'll see you Monday at 4.